Shalom, shalom. We're back again for the second time. We just little bit of the phone overheated, so we had to restart again. But everything is in the spirit. All right. So first and foremost, we want to give all the praises to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakal Kodash. We give double honors to our apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to our sincere brothers pushing this truth. Shalom to the 144,000. Shalom to the 1/3.
Yeah.
My name is Brother Ahab.
Yeah, Brother Arya.
Brother Ratazar.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about how the Most High is a man of war. Right? And various topics, Abu Ratazar, things are happening, man. Things that we be seeing on the horizon, man, be giving us, that push for us to continue to keep going. So we're going to start with Exodus, Abu Ratazar,
Exodus 15:3. The Lord, which is all in caps, is his name of war, and the Lord is his name.
Yeah, read that again.
Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name.
Yeah, man. He's a man of war, and it's his war, it's his army. He's got his army, his host, and he's doing what he's be doing, man. This is a game of chess. This is chess and not checkers, man, as we say. So we're going to just stand still, Abu Ratazar. Read Exodus 14:14.
Exodus 14:14.
Yeah,
the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace.
and that gives us even more confidence, man, to keep on pushing, striving. Abu Ratazar, right now, Abu Ratazar, this video will be edifying.
Yeah.
We hold our peace, we watch what's going on, we report on it, and for what's going on, there's a lot taking place, but all we've got to do is stand in our lot and watch, man. As we talk about the watchmen are here, we're back.
Yeah.
So he gonna fight for us, man, and there's a lot we be seeing as far as current events. You're holding something in it?
I was. Same precept again to begin with. This is Isaiah 10 and verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Of course, Trump, they're doing the battle of the tariffs right now between China and America. It went from 25% to about 145% to about over 200% right now at this point. If it be so, I need to recheck that again. But the point is, it's an absurd amount of for the tax rate. Which really, that's what a tariff is. It's like a tax between countries. So with that right now, China's saying that
They're not backing down.
Yeah, they're not backing down, man. They're calling America weak. You got I think the vice president, if I recall correctly, calling the Chinese peasants, because their former so-called glory or trade was actually to be as farmers. That's what they were. So Moab was getting frustrated from that.
And the scriptures talk about Moab, either Moab or Ammon. They're washpots. Moab is my watchpot.
Yeah.
And it's true, because I looked up the word, because the elder apostle Tahar made mention of a word, and I've heard it before, but I just checked it. Yeah, he mentioned paper tiger, and I may have said paper dragon, but I really meant paper tiger in one of my previous videos. Paper tiger. So I looked it up. What is a paper tiger? A person. Paper tiger. What is a paper tiger? A person or thing that appears threatening, but is in actual fact, but it's actually. Let's jump down the proper meaning here. Yeah. A paper tiger is someone who, at first glance, seems to be in charge, but who, on closer examination, is completely powerless. So he was referring to Donald Trump, and that's how the Chinese they've got these sayings, all these kinds of old Chinese sayings like paper tiger. So they see him as a paper tiger. Go on.
Yeah, I was just saying, they know that since majority of their product goes into America, they're the ones really doing the selling in America. They have a stronghold against Babylon the Great. In one of the interviews, I forgot the interviews, but like a podcast type of thing, or in the news really, they said there was a Moabite, I'm just calling him a Moabite in a high position, saying that America really, they don't need America in order for their economy to thrive.
Yeah, that's
Because they've
it,
got the
that's it.
European market anyways, man. So that's already a sign of Babylon the Great being cut off, man. You know, you could even liken it as the scripture says, let the weak say I am strong.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
not just in a war sense, but
Yes.
also in an economic sense as well.
Yeah.
You know, China. That's why, you know, back in the day, you know, when I was smaller as well, when I looked at behind toys and different products, almost everything said made from China, made
China,
from
yeah,
China,
yeah.
made from China. So you know, Marv's got that he's been blessed with
Yeah.
to be the manufacturer of the world. You can see.
Yeah.
The washbot to clean things.
Yeah.
You know, the Most High is going to use it to clean up Babylon as well.
Yeah, a little bit more. Then I'm gonna. You got a precept to bring out. Yeah, more on that. That false impression of a strong tiger, which is paper tiger. A paper tiger gives the impression of being powerful. Perhaps he is a king or a high principal, school principal, but lacks any real power. So Maya be feeling confident now. You know, Trump, especially when they see the opposition backpedaling. And you know, coming to them groveling now, that gives them confidence instead of backpedaling. America, Babylon, the great big powerful
Yes.
America
Yes.
is backing down, backpedaling.
That's why the scripture says in the Babylon is falling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Babylon is full.
So
Babylon is
hence
full.
why we opened up. You know, the Most High is a man of war. This is his game. Chess. He plays chess and not checkers, man. And we're just his pawns, man. So we're in a good position as long as we stay in that position and we allow him to use us, man. You know, we're going to see the downfall, as you say, of Babylon. You got something, yeah?
Yes, I got something. And to go back to the Exodus 14 and 14, the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. So I'm going to go to this other precept now in Ecclesiasticus 2 verse 10. Look at the generations of old, and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Yeah? So we have to call upon, first and foremost, we have to call upon the Lord's name. And if, as you said, we said in Exodus 14 and 14, the Lord shall fight for you, and you should hold your peace.
Yeah.
So if we call upon the names, the Lord in the name, he goes, okay, you called upon me, so
That's
you
faith.
need me.
Yeah.
You need me, so I'm going to fight for you. So you fight for me, and I fight for you. So you're going to hold your peace.
Yeah, we've got a perfect example. Now let's get into some of this Genesis. Who were Lot? Innit? Lot was actually in a position where he seemed in dire straits, man.
Yes.
You know, but what did he do? Let's get into it. What did Lot do in this situation? And we're going to look up the word as well. The root word, Baba Kusha, Baba Ratazar. For those that you've got some that know, but maybe there's a lot that don't know. We're going to get into, because Sodom and Gomorrah, we hear about Sodom and Gomorrah, but there's more than just Sodom and Gomorrah. There's another 3 cities as well. That the Most High, you know, as we say, he dealt them a blow. So Genesis chapters 19, right? The circumstance where Lot called upon the Most High's name, man. Yeah, we're going to start with 11. It says, and they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they word themselves to find the door. Right? Well, who were they that this happened to? Small and great. You know, we know that they were Sodomites. Right? And don't just think, all the time we think about Sodomites. If you think about these places, where do they do it? That place over
Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv. Over here in that, there's another place over here in England. What's that place where people they be going?
For Pride.
Pride Month. Over there in Tel Aviv, you got the Pride Month. But a lot of them, and you got the clubs too. A lot of them be pumping iron, man. They be big, man. There's a place over here in England where there's a lot of sodoms as well. They got the certain clubs as well where it's pure sodomite clubs. So but the Most High smote them, man. He said he smote and great, so that they were weird themselves to find the door. Let me read that again. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they were weird themselves to find the door. The men said unto Lot, haste thee thou. Right, the men, he's talking about the men. These were the angels. As a matter of fact, let's get into that word now.
What, the Lot?
Right, the meaning of his name, Lot.
Alright, so this is Lot. In the root word blue letter dictionary, It's going to be pronounced as Lot, but
Right.
that's in the modern Hebrew.
Right.
In the ancient Hebrew, it's called Lawat. Yeah, Lawat. Which means over here, Lot means covering. So Lawat means covering.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah,
And he had a
hence
covering upon it.
can't. Let's get more into it a little bit, just to make the point of a particular situation that he seemed in dire straits, and that faith, he played out his position, man. He played out right before our very eyes. So when we get into some of these historical events, we know that these are real stories, man. When in the Christian church, they don't teach you that, man. You know, some of us could have been there, whatever the case may be, but we know that this played out in lifetime, right? And the men said unto Lot, haste thou here any besides son in the. Let me read that again. And the men said unto Lot, haste thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For I will destroy this place. Right, I'll be thinking of this place, man. Right, it's going to be left, this place over here to Europe too, and over there in Babylon. Right, this is the mother of Babylon over there in America. When I'll be reading this, that's what I'll be visualizing that. You know what I mean? Right? For I will destroy this place, because the cry of them has waxen great. Right, see the power of the name? Right, that's why we don't neglect that name, man. You know what I mean? And hence the title of this video, man. The Most High is a man of war. Right, and there's war taking place as we speak. When we think back as far back as I can remember, all these guerrilla warfares, Eddie Amin, what's the other guy? That's South Africa. What's that?
Apartheid.
And the apartheid.
Nelson Mandela.
I made mention of he be coming up recently, because far back there's always been wars, and he done 25 years in prison because he wanted to free his people, which, you know, brothers say, you know, the Hamite people. As far as what we can see, the spirit bears witness. He's Ham, but he was fighting against Siaga, and I remember growing up watching the news, trying to keep up with everything. He done 25 years in that small little room to try and free his people. But there's always been wars, man. And what happened to him? He ended up carrying out anyway. You know what I mean? The anti-apartheid. Apartheid. The what? Anti-apartheid. So there's all these different types of guerrilla wars, freedom fights, civil wars, they call them.
Yeah.
Right, but this is the Most High. The Most High is a man of war. Yeah, reading on. For he will destroy this place, because the cry of them has waxen great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. Right, man. This place is going to be a memorial. I'll be thinking about that, of what is to happen to a place that is extremely wicked. It's what's going to be left of this place. It's only going to be a memorial. We keep talking about that. It keeps on coming up. A little bit more reading on. And when the morning arose, as a matter of fact, Genesis chapters 19, you finish up for me. Read 15.
From verse 15.
Carry on, brother.
Genesis 19 and verse 15, it says here, and when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
Yep.
Of course, they were being filtered out, man.
Yep.
They were being filtered out, you know, of that degenerate city, so that essentially the Most High is taking them away from that degeneracy, so that they can deal that utter destruction in that city.
Carry on.
Right. So
Gonna explain it.
Yeah, it says it. Yeah, 16. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord YAHAWAH being merciful unto him.
That's what happened. The angel showed the Most High showed mercy unto him by sending an angel. Yeah, carry on.
God. The Lord YAHAWAH being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city, so outside of the city. And it came to pass.
So the angels grabbed hold of him because he was lingering. This is what be happening in our movies. This is what be happening. If you saw this as a movie, we said been movies on it. But you know, they give you an outline, right? Which if you used to see it and you didn't know any better, you'd think it's just pure Edomites and whatever the case may be, Ishmael and all of that, and it's fiction. But this is what happened. The angel grabbed hold of Lot, Lawat, meaning covering. We went into the name. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. And it says in verse 80,
17?
or 70, so long, yeah. Verse 17, and it came to pass when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life.
Yeah.
Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold now thy servant hath found grace, which means favor, in the sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die.
Right, so jump down to 24 now.
So Genesis 19 and 24, the Lord Yahawah rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord Yahawah out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities, and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground.
Yeah, so when you look at going to that, it was 5 cities. Sodom, because I was doing research on it, and in a way of going over it, Sodom means burning, right? So you had Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom means burning, Gomorrah means submerged. Admah, that's the one of the three out of the 5, means red earth. Zeboim means gazelle, yeah, and Zoar means insignificant. And when you do get into it, he fled to Zoar. It's interesting because sometimes I'll be watching Mastermind, and you know, you got people who are not into the Bible, but they be asking Bible questions on Mastermind, and they mentioned some of these cities. They mentioned Zoar too, I think the guy didn't get it right, but the question was, where did Lot flee to? And they was right with it, you know. The person didn't get it right, but the answer, they knew the answer.
Yeah.
That he fled to Zoar, where he was safely protected. Hence the name Lot, Lawat, means covering. So there's examples what we'll be looking at, man.
Yeah, that's spiritual covering.
Spiritual covering. And stand still, that's why we ain't going to get all rattled. Abarazar, right? Jacob's trouble is on its way. Jeremiah 30 and 7. Don't got to get it, but when that time comes, Abarazar, we want that covering, man. Just like Lot. And we may not do a long video on this particular, you know, once we hit the point, the weather is kind of warm, and we don't
overheat.
We don't want it to overheat as it did previously. It's cool though. If it's cool, we should be all right to carry on Abarazar. But you know, this is the Most High's movie. So you know, so hence why we see examples, why we just, you know, stand still, man. See the salvation of the Lord. Anybody got anything they can bring it out?
You got something?
No. I've got to bring out a precept after I make a point, but you know, Harvey, you can bring yours out.
That's why the Lord's in control, as Brother Arya said. The Lord is in control of everything, right? Once you fight for the Lord, He'll fight for you, because this is His movie, isn't it? In Malachi 1 verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build a desolate place. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, of armies, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them,
just like them cities, man.
The same-
Sodom and Gomorrah, Zorah,
You see?
Abna, Zoar, all
see?
of them, man. You know,
see?
you're gonna throw them down. He's gonna throw these cities down. What's happening? Someone made mention of what's happening of no, with the EMPs.
Oh, cyber attack.
Is it Portugal or Spain?
Spain, Portugal. Some are even saying the latter parts of France as well, where there's this recently. A few days ago, it lasted probably, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 days, where there was a mass blackout, you know, which is essentially where the electrical grid fails on these businesses. People had to withdraw from the ATMs, you know, to use cash. You know, they realized they
People
can't.
panic buying.
Oh
too.
yeah.
People could even, you know, nowadays people pay with their phones as well. They couldn't pay with their phones, man. You know, no electricity means no mobile networks. You know, no more towers, because you need towers, you know, to get that reception. Once those are turned off, you can't pay with your phone. So many were stranded in airports, in the train station as well, in Spain and Portugal. Some were, you got Edomites speculating on Sky News saying it could have been some rare
phenomenon.
phenomenon, saying it's the difference between temperatures between the two regions where the electricity is traveling within, something along those lines. But at the end of the day, whether it's a rare phenomenon or Esau's, of course, using the cyber attacks as a means.
Test run?
Yeah, as a test run.
Some brothers
for his agenda. Because remember, that's going to be a means to also implement, okay, if you can't pay with your phones, if you can't pay, he would just say, okay, cash is useless now. After that, we then say, all right, you got to get a chip in order to make payments. So that could be a means to reset the system, really. He was going to do it gradually, or was just going to jump straight to it. But anyway, Spain and Portugal, they faced a blackout. People, they were stressing, man. You got people running out of, well, not running, but walking out of train stations, literally midway on the track. Midway on the track, they had to walk in that heat. Any brothers who's experienced that Spain heat, can't talk for myself, but I know that, I'm aware that Spain, and of course Portugal, are hot countries naturally. So really, that can be seen as a test run. And I remember also brothers had made videos previously on Klaus Schwab mentioning the fact that the next event, the next major one, would be a cyber attack. So we've got to prepare our minds for what YAHAWAH will make Esau do. And that's part of the faith as well, that he will look after us in that time.
We've got peace up here.
Can't bring it out.
1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon the woman with child, and they shall not escape. I tell you something, right? We talk about the power grid, yeah? Anything that, when it comes to electricity, right? That runs the whole world,
Yeah.
So when they cut that power, you can't the phone, you can't use the phones.
No, underwater.
When I was traveling here, coming to meet my beloved brothers, I think the journey's about an hour and something on the bus, and this young woman was on the phone from the beginning to the end. She was glued to that phone.
Yes,
And I said, imagine, all it is, if there's one cyber attack or some power cut, they cut the phones off.
Done.
Easily done.
Finished.
Peace and safety, right? Sudden destruction. You know what I mean? So straight away, things can happen in a moment. People go crazy. Look what happened the last time with in the area. Look what happened the last time when they cut off WhatsApp. People going crazy.
It was down for a couple of hours.
It was down for a couple of hours and they're going crazy. Much less, right? But we know that they're going to keep the internet running because obviously transactions they're going to be clever because you're going to need that C hip, to get into. So they're not going to get rid of it, but we know who we rely on, our Lord. We know who we rely on.
Talking about how people they rely on their phones. Was it last week? I was in a supermarket and they said, sorry, when I was at the entrance, security guard and those that work in there said, sorry, we're down, the system's down at the moment. We're only dealing with cash, or what's that thing, chip and what do they call it, chip and change, something like that. But I wasn't bugging out, because as far as, buying things, I'd be paying, going on that cash thing, and I'll be paying on that. But people rely on their phones, but there's something that they do on their phone, chip and something. Chip and pin. Right? And this woman said, she was either my old middle-aged, elderly woman. And she was like cussing at them. She was saying, I used to always buy on this. What's that? She was complaining, man. I just said to myself, I was in and I was out. But back to the point you was making, people really rely on this internet, If it's down, everything stops, man.
As you said, it's a source to everything because the internet, what powers the internet? It's electricity, you see?
So that goes into the woe unto them that write the unrighteous decrees, right? Which is on the pipelines right now. So the Most High, anyway, as we know, who's behind everything? The Most High. This is His movement. He's a man of war. So I've got a precept. Have you got something?
I've got something, but you can put it.
Tell you what, you can read it then, Baba Bashar. Ezekiel 35, get into some of this, Lord willing, just to make the point. The Most High is a man of war, man.
That's why it's punishing Israel right now as well. Recently you got the wildfires that's going on, but
over there was supposed to be Eden in the east. The whole of the world is supposed to be Eden, which in the Hebrew means paradise. But they have to import everything to get there for it to grow. They call it the kibbutz. That's not nothing new. I remember that years ago watching documentaries on this kibbutz's getting banana. They have to import bananas because they don't grow naturally. You know what I mean? Which a lot of them don't want to get too much into the health, but I mean it's like it's all hybrid anyway.
Yeah.
You know, real bananas supposed to have seeds. But it's a whole nother video. But it's everything's imported and hybridized. So that's because they're in somewhere they do not want it. They don't belong there.
Yeah.
Because the right people have to be there in order for the earth to be fertile again. But it's going to be fertile again. Anyway, so that time is coming anyway. Back to the actual the title of the movie. This is the Most High's movie. This is his. He plays chess and not checkers, man. Yeah, you got it?
What do you want to
Bring out some of this Ezekiel 35. It
top?
helps the point. Yeah, start from the point. We get into some of this, man.
Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against the Mount Seir.
Yeah, he's against Esau. He's against Mount Seir. Yeah, which that's where they, that's their land. If they had any claim of anywhere, which they still even got a claim to that, as a land that belonged to them, because they're not wanted anywhere. He's a fugitive up to this very day. He's, like his forefather Cain.
Yes.
So he's a fugitive, wandering from place to place in lands which don't belong to him. Even if you even talk about over there what's going on in the east, that don't belong to him either. Anywhere he is right now don't belong. Over in Babylon, right, which is going to be left as a memorial for something that is extremely wicked, just going to be tumbleweed and smothering smoke left. That even don't belong to him. So nowhere, it doesn't belong anywhere. But anyway, if there was any claim to any of the part of the earth he had, would have been Mount Seir, where he came from. Yeah. Carry on reading. Mount Seir is talking about that in 2. Read 2 again and then carry on, Baba Gusha.
Ezekiel 35:2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir.
Yeah, he's against them. Yeah.
And prophesy against it.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, right? Making our calling more sure, at the same time making our calling more sure. Hastening the day of Yahawah by Hashem Yoshai. So he's against them, man. You know what I mean? And making it, before I speak, I think it's Isaiah, you can hold it. Isaiah 42, round about 7 and 8, just hold it on. And then carry on.
Verse 3. And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord our power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee.
Right, man. If the Most High is for you, who can be against thee, man?
Heavy.
Right? But if he's against you, that's why he's so delusional. He has no other choice but to be delusional and hope he can upset these prophecies. Hence why he's got this Project Blue Beam. Recently you had some of these celebrities go up into space. What's that? Katy something? Katy Perry and some
higher up
what's that woman? Gal Gold. Can't remember if I'm pronouncing the name right. Gal Gold. But anyway, they went up into space. Is another claim that equal opportunities, or to try and be defiant.
They're pushing feminism.
Let alone men going up into space. Now they're pushing feminism. Trying to rub it in the Most High's face, man.
Because she actually, I remember in the clip as well, she mentioned about divine femininity or something like that. That goes into really woman worship.
Right.
At the end of the day, she weren't giving no praises to the Most High. Not that these heathens do anyways, but they don't know the names. But at the end of the day, really, she was just giving praises onto idols, divine femininity. So it's just some bullshit out there that she's pushing at the end of the day. Which people even have their own speculation whether they actually went
some form of worship, and
outskirts.
it's definitely some kind of what do they call it? Some kind of ritual going on. Go on.
People are speculating whether it was true, whether they went up and went down, or it was just that it's a little bit up there.
Alright.
We know what Esau does to deceive, just to keep the people in this deceptive state, this deceived state, thinking that it was real. But nevertheless, whether it's real or not, the point is they were used to push an agenda, to keep the people in a weakened state of mind, delusional state of mind rather.
Yeah, woman empowerment as well. I remember that. Was it Spice Girls?
Back in
Woman empower, girl power.
Yeah.
I never was for that rubbish, man. Girl power. And they went on stage when they started to push that girl power too much. even for their own people, they got booed off the stage.
Yeah, get your ass out.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but you can pull that up on YouTube now. Yeah, Spice Girls get booed off the stage. Scary Spice was on there. She's like, because you know you can't go too far with it, man. Right? Hence why Obadiah won, isn't it? Right? Because of their pride, you're gonna bring them down, man. Rise up, was it something to do with because of thy pride, shame shall come against thee. So that's what happened on a small scale. On a small scale, right? With the girl power thing and the woman empowerment thing, the feminism thing. That's all backfiring on them as well. Because now a lot of them women there ain't got men. You know, the so-called ninja woman and the Edomite woman complaining about men. Men ain't dealing with them anymore. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's all backfiring. Once again, this is the power of the Most High. This is His movie. You understand? We just have to play our position, man, and watch, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The movie's playing out. Everything's going according to the Most High's plan.
Precept to back up on that.
All right.
Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
Right. Self-explanatory, but say break it down.
Yeah, because this is the Lord's movie again. We keep on talking about this is the Lord's movie, right? Anything of the Lord, it can't be overthrown, right? And it's the Lord set this up anyway to show His power, right? Put them in like they talk about the Spice Girls. They think they have spice. They don't have no spice.
No spice.
No spice. We are the real spice. We are the salt of the earth, isn't it? Right? So this shows that the Lord's anything to do with the Lord is going to remain forever. All right? And all that Spice Girl thing, it's how many of them in the group? Four or five of them? Or six or whatever. Yeah? They're all put together. Esau, that's right, that shows that Esau is in control of the narrative. All right? They're in control. But when we say it's the Lord make them in control, but the Lord, as you said, read the scripture again. Right? I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace and create evil. The main point is, I, the Lord, do all these things. Everything is a 360 with the Lord YAHAWAH Shemashai. He does everything. It comes right back to Him to show His power. Yeah? That I am the Lord.
Full circle.
You see? Full circle, brother. Full circle.
What?
Okay, I got a precept, but I thought you wanted to speak on it. Yeah, man. So really, all the agendas, this feminism and the influence that they want to have of women overpowering the man. As the scripture says, a woman shall compass a man. A new thing that the Most High said He will create. A woman shall compass a man. Yahweh says, I'm gonna get that. But on that point, though, is really these Amalekites, of whom they're the ones that actually help to push it as well. Because here, the Most High has said that He's gonna have war with them. And He's really judging them hard, man. You got, let's rewind a little bit. You got Hamas, you had Hezbollah, who were fighting against these so-called Jews. We could even say, we could call them Jewish, which at the end of the day, they're just imposters. But the point is, the Most High is punishing them in many ways. So I'm going to read this, Exodus 17 and verse 16. For He said, because the Lord Yahawah has sworn that the Lord Yahawah will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. And of course, you can see that type of war in different formats. Of course, you had the physical ones, where you had Hamas and Hezbollah invading Israel as well, fighting for the Gaza Strip. And of course, another portion with Hezbollah and their incentives. And then fast forward right now, you've got the Most High also punishing them with wildfires as well. So that can be seen as a form of war that the Most High is using. He's using spirits of vengeance, because we could also get one more precept on that point. It says here, I'll get straight to the point. Ecclesiasticus 39 verse 29, fire, hail, famine, and death, all these were created for vengeance. So the Most High is exacting, he's implementing His vengeance upon the so-called Jews, over there in Israel right now. So that fire, because it says here, fire, hail, famine, and death. Fire, He's using fire right now for Israel right now, man. Same as He's doing in Babylon. He gave them a teaser trailer for their final end with California, with their fires. I think that happened earlier this year as well. the Apostle Torah deemed the year of destruction too.
Oh yeah.
You know, so the Most High is really
And our
pushing out that
deliverance,
destruction.
yeah.
Go on, and our deliverance as well.
Yeah.
Judgment of the wicked.
Yep.
So that's what's happening right now. And yeah, that's really the point, Alkim, you know. Those Amalekites over there right now who are imposters are taking our positions, but the Most High is looking at them and implementing his judgment.
Right.
So, you know, our prayers have not been in vain. You can already see the judgment. It's just going to keep increasing ever more so until the ultimate destruction, where Babylon's going to be wiped out and Esau's system is going to be done for as well.
Yeah, because we are prisoners of hope. So yeah, going over that the title for this year in way of reminder. This is the hopeful year of our salvation and deliverance, and destruction and judgment upon the wicked.
Yeah.
So we're still in that hope. That's why we be staying pushing, continue to be pushing, man. We're in that hope, right? And we are prisoners of hope, as the scriptures say. We're prisoners of hope.
Yeah.
Hope is a motivator, right? That's the difference between us, people in this truth, our brothers are where those men coming back, right? And people in the world. We have similar. Some of us may have certain dire, situations as far as going through certain illnesses, similar to those people in the world, or funds, lack of funds and all of that, right? Suffering various similar ailments. But the difference between us and them is that we have hope. We're prisoners of hope. So we're still, we have reason to continue, man, and continue to. And the scriptures say we are renewed in the spirit. Although, get that one, Baba Kushar. Yeah,
That's a heavy one.
I ain't brought that out for a little while. Although, get it out. I don't want to misquote it. You got something?
Yeah, I've got something.
While he's getting that.
Yeah, because our role also is to free out the prisoners, which really the ones that we can free, or the ones that Yahawah has ordained for us to free, are the ones of whom are actually ordained to be the elect. Yahawah. This is Isaiah 42:7. Yeah, you asked for me to hold this as well. It says to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners out of the prison. The prisoners are spiritually in prison. Even we ourselves, we're prisoners as well. We're prisoners of hope. We get that precept here out as well. From the prison, and them that sits in darkness out of the prison house, man. They're in darkness because, an indicator of them sitting in darkness is the fact that they're still looking for all these other philosophies, in order to believe them, to find comfort in them. Really, all of this is just disobedience and ignorance against Yahawah's existence. So it says in verse 8, I am the Lord Yahawah, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Yeah, so those idols of which Jake be worshipping in Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, we've got
celebrities.
That as well, celebrity worship, worshipping man. All those are idols, man. Some people be making graven images onto them, be worshipping them.
Yep.
There's nothing new under the sun. It's the same thing that was done before is done today, man. So all that wickedness, it comes with a price.
Yeah.
That'll be the judgment.
And Most High, he says that his glory doesn't give to graven images.
Yeah.
What just come to mind is Travis Scott as well. That happened in his concert. People were saying they were suffocating. When they show, you can still probably see it on if you pull it up on YouTube. People were screaming. People get, I can't breathe. Some people said they even saw silhouettes of demons running across people.
True.
But that's because the Most High brought that upon them because of them. People actually be worshipping celebrities.
Yeah. That's
Now,
what you get.
some people may choose to go to concerts, whatever the case may be. But as what the elders say, I won't say what the elders are encouraging us to do. Not to be too much up in the cup with people, in the crowds and in what they call it in
Mass events.
Mass events.
Well,
That's
look
it.
what happened the other day with that whole the roof caved in that nightclub. Is it?
I heard something like that.
Yeah, caved in.
There's been a lot of things like happening. Nightclubs. What's the other ones like? What do you call these big
them
tent, the circuses and stuff,
I know
where the
what you're
seats they fall in.
Fun fairs.
Fun fairs, seats be falling off, and fun fairs where you know,
Roller
someone
coaster.
hasn't tightened the screw, one person hasn't done his job properly, so then people have to get deleted because of that. Which anyway, when you chase it all back, it's because of the Most High be judging people.
Yeah.
We're not putting him, not worshipping him. Once again, you know, various topics as well, but this is the Most High. Most High is a man of war.
Yeah,
Piece of
yeah.
the call for
You know what I mean? And we're going to start winding down. Abu Rakazar is holding out anyway, but we-
2 Corinthians
more
4 and
precepts.
16.
yeah.
For which cause is the beautiful precept you brought up? 2 Corinthians 4 and 16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward
We're going to end with the one.
man is renewed day by day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read it again, Baba Kusha. Who's talking?
2 Corinthians
Yep.
4 and 16. For which cause we faint not,
Yep.
Lord willing. But though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
Break it down, Baba Kusha.
Wow, because we talk about that prayer, yeah? We ask the Heavenly Father what? The Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread.
Daily bread. Yeah.
Daily bread. It has to be a daily bread because this flesh is so weak. It falls every day.
Yeah.
But because of the word,
You're renewed.
it's renewed, brother. It's renewed daily.
Yeah, the duck was just chiming in on that. Yeah,
Wow.
the duck
See?
agreed with it.
You see? And this is the difference with us and the people of the world, because they're not they're carnally minded. We are spiritually minded. So we're renewed in the spirit, because this flesh is wicked. It would fall down every day. Yeah?
But yeah, why are we renewed?
Yes.
By watching the video, watching the brothers' videos, you know, all the brothers' videos. It's a constant thing, you know, in all seasons and out of seasons, which means that you can get the videos all hours of the morning because it's all over the world and they have different time to us. So we're constantly being fed, and also at the same time, while we're being fed, we push out videos as well, which has a positive effect on us. Although we want to, you know, encourage the church, you know, the scripture says that it encourages us also, man. Continuing these things because you encourage yourself at the same time, loosely paraphrasing.
You mentioned
You know?
a beautiful word
Yeah.
earlier. You said the word hope.
Right.
Hope.
Go ahead.
Oh, I got something. Just read one more.
Bring,
Say
bring
hope,
yours
yeah?
out and then we're going to end with that one.
Yeah. Hope, right? You said something beautiful earlier, right? Because we're living in hope.
Yeah.
In the 17th verse, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. That's the hope we have, brothers. You see?
Yep.
That's the hope.
It outweighs
It outweighs
anything that we're going through at the moment, and it's but for a moment, right? Most High, you know, we're on the Most High's time, and it seems long because we're in the flesh. That's only because we're in the flesh. But Isaiah 65 says it's going to be like we're in a little dream. We'll wake up like we're woken up out of a nightmare, a dream, but for a moment. So we're prisoners of hope, and we're being renewed, man. You know, emphasis on the word renewed. The title of the video is "The Most High is a Man of War," and he's bringing war, right? Abu Rakazar, you know, Lot was covered, man. Lawat covering. We want to be covered. We're seeking to be covered too, because the Most High's fury, man, gonna be unleashed, and we're gonna say, "Boy, that's my fault." We're gonna say, you know, just like your brother, you know, you got a big brother or your father, you're in a jam, any kind of jam, you know, you got a problem with some kind of technical issue or could even be a carnal issue, and your big brother comes and rescues you. You're proud, man.
Yeah, of course.
That's my big brother, that's my dad. You know what I mean? So that's how it's gonna be for us, man. He's a man of war. What they are about Shimon Shai. You know what I mean? Continue up. So this is just like an encouragement, an impromptu to continue, man. To all the Akim out there, whether you're newly, or young, or whatever the case may be, or just in a way of reminders, you've been around a bit, in a way of reminders to carry on, keep pushing. So we're going to end with this one, man. That's going to be the last one.
Right, so this is Zechariah 9 and 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. And this is really talking about when it says, hold ye prisoners of hope. That's talking about us servants of Yahawah Shem Yahushai. Because we are prisoners. Because really, we owe a debt unto Yahushai. Because he paid. Just his death, you can liken it as unto money that's given unto us, you know, to hold. You can also link it to the parable of the 10 talents as well. And we have to pay it back as well, you know, so that we're profitable unto him. Because he's paid us, we need to pay him back. So we owe him a debt. That's why we're also prisoners. So that's one way you can perceive it too. That's why we're prisoners of hope, because we hope, we have faith in the salvation that Yahushua will give us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Baruch seconds that. He says, although we went astray, it was on us to go astray. Now we're back seeking 10 times more, man. So that debt, in actual fact, cannot be paid, but of the Lord's mercy, it is of the Lord's mercy, as Lot said when he was delivered out of those 5 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, man, and the other 3 cities. He said it was of the Lord's mercy, because he recognised that there was nothing that you really could do to pay him back, but it's all of the Lord's mercy, man.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
he was delivered. So the YAHAWAH, when we say the YAHAWAH, man, any brothers can say their final comments, man. Any final comments, and we're going to close, man.
Yeah, man, that's really it. The Most High is just going to wrap everything up. Israel's getting their judgment. We've seen destruction left, right, and center. We've seen cyber attacks. California fires earlier on in the year. Trucks exploding. That was like an introduction to 2025. So there's more to come, man. There's more to come. The Most High will uplift our faith in these times as well. And of course, in these times where He's going to uplift our faith, of course, we'll be tested prior to that major exam, so that we stand strong with our legs.
Yeah.
Of course, metaphorically, in the time of the MOTB when faced with that test. That's why Yahushua said He'll preserve us from the hour of temptation.
Yeah.
So it's all leading up to that moment. That's why we keep repeating. That's that major moment.
Yeah.
There's salvation after Yahweh Tazar.
Yeah. Repetition is the father of learning, and those who gonna get it, they're gonna get it. The elect are gonna get it. Yeah. So as you say, man, we've got to do stand in our lot, man. Stand still. Exodus 14 and 14. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Most High shall fight for us. Because we know He's a man of war. Right? He's the one dictating and manipulating everything as far as we can see right now. He's a man of war. So the YAHAWAH for giving us the spirit to come together once again, in this nice day. You know what I mean? Breaking bread and whatever the case may be, and spiritually as well. So our brothers are edifying to all the sincere elect out there, man. We're going to say shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
To the next one.